What is going on, everybody? So, I am back today to talk about a new TV show that I just watched. And this is one season of a TV show that was released, I believe, in the month of June or July, really recently. The show is put out by FX, which I feel like FX always does a really phenomenal job. And my brother actually recommended me this show, and I saw a poster for it online, but I didn't really know anything about it. And so, other than the base level premise of the show, I really just kind of went into this blind, and it ended up being one of my favorite things that I've watched the entire year. And the show I'm going to be talking about today is The Bear. The Bear series was directed and created by Christopher Storer. A young chef from the fine dining world returns to Chicago to run his family's sandwich shop. So our lead character, Carmy, or Carmen, played by Jeremy Allen White, is this young guy who is this prestigious chef who literally went all over the world training to become one of the greatest chefs in the world, and he worked at one of the best restaurants in New York City. And his brother had recently committed suicide, and he's come back home because his brother, in his will, left him his Italian beef restaurant in Chicago. And it's literally the last thing he ever wanted to do. His brother never let him work in the sandwich shop prior, and so he's going and trying to rescue this business. And the business is currently being watched over by his cousin Richie, who is just this like really big asshole who thinks he 100% knows how to run this business and that things have been the same way for forever and that they've never been changed. He comes in as this person with fine dining experience and really wants to turn it into something better. And there's this whole cast that works in the kitchen. You have this young guy, Marcus, who's the one who makes all the bread every single day. Tina, who is this woman who is constantly doing all the prep work. She's between the front of house and the back of house. Ibrahim, who's an older gentleman who's constantly working on their meat. Manny and Angel, who are their two dishwashers. Maddie Matheson shows up in the show, who's like their guy who works on their maintenance. And then Carmy decides to hire a sous chef, essentially, someone with a little bit more background to help him in the restaurant. And her name is Sid, played by Ayo Edebiri, who is probably my other favorite character in the show. And so the entire premise of the series is the conflicts and the things that arise in trying to make this restaurant incredibly successful. So when I started watching this show, I had no idea what to expect, and this show, just right out of the gate, is one of the most anxiety-inducing, just heart-pounding, intense pieces of television I've ever watched. It really reminds me of like the Safdie brothers turned up to 1,000, where I went to college the first time for hospitality management. I've spent a lot of my time in restaurants and working in customer service, and I've watched a lot of programs over the years that have tried to nail what it feels like to work in a kitchen, and I feel like this is really the best representation of what it is like to work in a kitchen and how high stress, over the top it is. There's an episode in particular, the 7th episode of the season, where they're trying to implement this new to-go system, and this issue starts to happen with the to-go orders that causes this really insane, stressful situation. And it reminded me of being a general manager in restaurants and having issues with technology, and most of it was shot in one take. And it was probably one of the most nauseating episodes of television because it triggered me back to those times where I just like wanted to pull my hair out and was so nervous as to what the repercussions of all these things going wrong were going to be. This just does an amazing job of that. And what I love is watching these characters that were in the restaurant before that have really been cemented to a very specific style of how this restaurant works. It's a local place, so you get a lot of the same customers, and they feel like you have to run the restaurant a very specific way. Well, Carmy comes in and he starts changing the beef recipe. He wants to make sure the bread is perfect. He's much more of a stickler because he's a food guy, and they notice right out of the gate that the restaurant is starting to do better because of that. And you get things introduced introduced, like a food critic comes into play. There's all these little things, and then it's the character dynamics between all of these people and their relationships that are formed together. And that's the best part of the show, is the character writing, especially between Carmy and Richie, his cousin, who are constantly just butting heads. He's such an asshole. He never wants to change anything for the better. He thinks that the restaurant should be run the same way. He's doing a lot of really seedy shit behind his cousin's back, and then Carmy just wants to make something of this because it was the opportunity handed to him, even though for some reason his brother never let him work in the restaurant. He never let him be there, and you get a lot of insight into what Carmy's life was like before he went into this restaurant, and like how the harsh pressures of fine dining and the things that he had to do to get to where he was at, and then getting more information into his sous chef Sid's life and her trying to run her own catering business, and how that sort of fell apart, and why she sees this business that she went to with her dad for years and years and years as something so important that can be built up into something so amazing. It has a lot of drama, comedy, suspense. It is just really everything you could ever want in a TV program, and I was gripped for all 8 episodes. I'm so glad to know that it got renewed, because I truly think that it is one of the best things that has been on TV all year, and probably in the past couple years. I really have not watched anything that has really gripped and immersed me as much as this TV show. So if you have Hulu, or if you have cable and you can stream FX, watch The Bear. It is truly one of the best TV shows that's out right now. So have you seen The Bear? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this show was a work of genius. It's only been 1 season, and I can't wait to see what else is to come. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot. Lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material, and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.